you. Give me 1 second. Waiting for StreamYard to go live. Go ahead and hit that share button. Good morning to all of you. Good morning to you. Please forgive the lateness. We are trying to figure out a new system for the podcast in the morning. And so we are working to see how things will sound and look through StreamYard for the visual. And of course, Clubhouse does its own thing. But good morning to all of you. And what a great morning it is. And so, what I wanted to do this morning was kind of jump off almost like a little soft lunch. Of course, there's going to be more graphics falling about the podcast now that the lighting is much better. I had light bulbs in my lamp and didn't even know it. Ain't that crazy? Like, I literally had light bulbs in the lamp. And yeah, and all the time it's been dark in here, and I didn't know there were light bulbs in the lamp. Uh, there were light bulbs in the lab. I didn't know exactly what was what, but all I knew was I figured out that there were light bulbs in the lab. And so, have you ever been in a place where you knew that you were called to something great and you just could not put two and two together? Like you couldn't figure out what was going wrong, what the issue was, and then all of a sudden it hit you, and the answer that you were looking for had been there all along. Like it has literally been there all along. And so, what I want to talk about this morning for the next 5 minutes is how to overcome distractions. All right, how to overcome distractions. This is a very, very important topic because distractions come to literally set you off focus, set you off your goal for from your intended results. You could say, "Well, I'm going to lose 30 pounds by you know, the last of September. And then all of a sudden you get invited, once you start the journey, you 10 days in, you get invited to a vacation with your friend girls. And it's all you can eat buffet and all you can eat this and all you can eat that. And then all of a sudden here we are. You are distracted from your goal. You're not able to accomplish what you need to accomplish. And now you have been set off and set back, right? And so here's one of there are three steps I want to give you, and I promise you I'll be done. I'll be back at 11 o'clock for midday push. So just bear with me as I get the balance of both of these um, morning inspirations so we can get the best out of what we need to learn. All right. And so the first step that I figured out when it comes to overcoming distractions is to acknowledge, regardless of who it is and what it is, that it is a distraction. All right. Make sure you type that in the comment. I have to acknowledge that it's actually a distraction because you can turn a deaf ear and a deaf eye to, things that you may think that may not harm you because it looked good. The old people used to tell us everything glitter ain't gold. You understand what I'm saying? And it could be something that you really don't need to open up to. You really don't need to share your space your mental space, your physical space, your emotional space with that particular item, because it could very well be a distraction. Relationships, if they are not managed properly, will become a distraction. Business, starting businesses, if they're not managed properly, they'll become a distraction. Going into the ministry, doing the work of the kingdom of God, if it's not managed properly, it'll become a distraction. And so I am teaching myself how to prioritize what is important, what's not. Over excess in conversations can become a distraction, because every moment that you take from what you're supposed to be doing and give to others, you are losing that moment. So I'm not against investing in others. It just needs to make sure, you just need to make sure that it's beneficial to what you're trying to accomplish, because if not, it will go in the category of a distraction. All right. So you have to acknowledge that it's a distraction. You can't just be in your feeling, well, I can handle this, or I can beat this, or I'm stronger than this. No, you have to literally say, you know what? Ever since I started doing this, I have not worked the same. I have not prayed the same. I have not spent as much time in my business. I have not gotten back in my book. Why? Because I have allowed this particular situation, this particular issue, this particular person to become a distraction, right? And so you have to acknowledge the fact, because you cannot heal what you're not willing to reveal, all right? All right? So you won't be able to conquer what you can't confront. And so if it may be close to you, but if it's stealing from you, it's not adding from you. If you're not growing, you're dying. There is no middle area where I don't know how to take it. No, there is no middle range. You're either living or dying. You're either going forward or backwards. I had an old mother to tell me that one time, a long time ago. Ain't no standing place in the spirit. You're either going forward or you're going backwards. You understand what I'm saying? And so when it comes to distractions, you have to know that you're either going forward or backwards. And if you're distracted, you're definitely not going forward, because you have come to a complete halt and going backwards inside of that particular distraction. But what you need to be focused on has come to a halt. And so the first step is to actually acknowledge, all right, the distraction, acknowledge what it is that has changed the way you normally operate in progression and production. All right. The second step, the second step to understanding how to overcome distractions is not to feel guilty about fixing it. You have to have a boldness in order to fix it, because a lot of people acknowledge the problem, but they never fix the problem. I can acknowledge that I'm fat, but until I get on the treadmill, it won't be fixed. You understand what I'm saying? I can acknowledge all day. Whoo, you got three stomachs. You understand? I tell myself that. So you got three stomachs and two backs. And so, but that means nothing if I don't get on the treadmill that's actually sitting right in front of me. You understand? It's right there in front of me. I have access to the answer. Many of you have access to the answer. The treadmill is sitting right there in front of you. The answer is that you don't have to leave your house. I don't have to leave. I don't have to go to Planet Fitness. I don't have to go to no other fitness place. Is right. The answer is right here in my house. And in order for me to be strong enough and bold enough to actually partake and engage in the answer, I have to acknowledge it, and I have to not feel guilty about trying to fix it. All right. You want to fix whatever it is that's standing in your way, that's stopping you from being the best that you can be. All right. The best that you can be. The best that you can be. Why? Once you start creating a pattern of distractions, they never stop coming. It's gonna always be something. It's gonna be the car. It's gonna be the children. It's gonna be the husband. It's gonna be the wife. It's gonna be the job. It's gonna be the church. It's gonna be the business. Something's gonna always get in your way. As soon as you lay out on the table that there's a project that needs to be complete. I had a project that was very important. That had a lot of money on it. I was supposed to do it in one day. It took me 7 days to get it done because I was so distracted. Every time I got started, something else came up. And I taught myself this. This sluggardness, this procrastination is going to have you living out your trunk. You understand? So I began to tell myself that you don't want to go back, to what you used to do, have to sleep in your car and all that stuff. And so you need to make sure that you acknowledge the distractions and prioritize those things that need to be in your life and put them in their proper place. So you acknowledge that there's a distraction. You don't feel guilty about fixing the distraction. And then number three, which is really, really important, make sure that you don't give any interest way back to the distraction. Because some people think that sometimes once you fix a certain thing for that moment, that it won't come back again. Come on. that it won't come back again. I'm teaching good, better than you saying sure is. All right. And so these 10 minutes of inspiration are going to take place every morning because you have to get in a place to where you understand what you've been called to do, who you've been called to reach, and what you have been called to become. And distractions are the enemy to progression. Yeah, it will halt you. It will stop you. It will make you feel like that you're moving and you're not. So the first step, and I want you to make sure you study these throughout the day. All right. And I may do a part two on this tomorrow. You want to make sure that you acknowledge that there is a distraction. Number two, you don't want to feel guilty about fixing the distraction. And then number three, make sure that you're alert and that you're aware that you don't give interest way back to the distraction. Yeah, that relationship didn't work out at first. Why would you give him a second chance? Ain't nothing changed. Yeah, he's still doing what he was doing. She's still doing what she was doing. So you give interest way back to a distraction that sets you back into the same thing that you just spent the past 9 months trying to be. You understand what I'm saying? And so don't allow distractions to stop you from your purpose. Don't allow distractions to stop you from your advancement, from your culminating and cultivating what you're supposed to be doing in the earth. Because if you don't make it to a place of success, if you don't make it to a place of wealth, it won't be nobody's fault but your own. All right. And so I want you to be encouraged. I want you to make sure that you focus in on that. Go back and look at your life. Take an hour and look at your life. What's in my way that's stopping me from advancing to my next place? What's in my way that's stopping me from advancing to a place of creativity, to a place of productivity, to a place of progression and acceleration? All right. So you can't sit in backwards modes all day. You have to acknowledge that I have a problem. I have an distraction. They tell you Alcohol Anonymous. In order to first, to beat the problem, you have to first acknowledge that you have one, right? So there is a distraction. Whether you want to say it out loud or take responsibility for that, it may be your fault. There is a distraction. You cannot feel guilty about fixing it because your purpose matters. And then number three, make sure it don't come back. All right. Make sure you close the door for good because if it serves as a distraction in this season, it'll serve as a greater distraction in the next season. Because if you don't beat it now, it gets stronger later. Oh yeah, I'm talking better than you saying sure is. All right. And so study those, go back in your life and make sure. So I appreciate you. Listen, I just want to drop that word on you for our iCreate podcast. I'm getting ready to go ahead and brand the morning podcast and make sure that these 10 minutes are effective, they're informative, they're innovative, and they bring increase in the different aspects of your life. And then we'll come with our spiritual food and midday push, which will probably change to probably 12 noon if we're not in the meeting or something like that. But right now it's for 11 a.m. So it'll stay at 11 a.m. We'll see how it works. And so I see you in a couple of hours. I hope this word has encouraged you. I hope it's giving you strength. I hope it's giving you purpose. I hope it's giving you just the desire to want to be, do something new and something fresh. All right. And making sure that you are living your best life. Please do me a favor. If you have any questions about our brands, they're all over the place. Go to andysmithmonroe.us and you'll learn all about what we have to offer. We got some amazing things on the horizon that are getting ready to come out in the next couple of weeks, and it's getting ready to get bigger and bigger and bigger. That's not good English, but it makes good sense. All right. Greater, greater, and greater. All right. Bigger, better, greater. All right. So you want to stay connected. Make sure you follow all of our brands, and we appreciate you. And we're going back out on big. All right. That was my little jam. All right. So let's go back out on that. I'll talk to you soon. See you at 11 o'clock. Woo. Clubhouse, that was a good kickoff, huh? What you think? That was a pretty good kickoff. That was some good meat.